Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chat About Sand. I'm your host, Fiona Werle, and I'm very excited about this guest this morning. Lacey Fisher has got a very interesting CV. Let me just read a few things that Lacey has got on her bio. Lacey has worked in a variety of settings, including a children's advocacy centre to provide counselling to children that experienced sexual abuse and their families. And she decided to take the experience and set up her own private practice. And she built that practice around supporting children and adults that had experienced sexual abuse, assault, and found a passion for working with parents and parents to be when the sexual assault trauma was activated in the perinatal period. This led to her learning as much as she could about perinatal trauma, pregnancy and infant loss, NICU trauma, and fertility struggles. And she found that parents responded well to EMDR and Sandtray therapy. And she's also implemented yoga into conscious yoga, I like that, into her practice. She served as the clinical director for Pregnancy and Postpartum Health Alliance since 2018 and was co-founder of the Texas SandTray Association. She's also a mentor, a teacher, and specialist. So, Lacey, I hope I don't ruin your name, Lacey Castilleja Fisher.
I'll say
Welcome.
it's Castilleja. Here in Texas, when we're growing up, we also would teach people Castilleja. It's one of those really fun, I think, very interesting last names that I get a lot of pronunciations on it, and it's fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have a Hungarian heritage, and it's nothing like Spanish or
Hmm.
English or Germanic. It's
Yeah, yeah, very difficult. Yeah,
yeah, very
fun though.
difficult. So the Hungarian's phonetic. They say you say it the way it sounds. You spell it the way it
Uh-huh.
sounds, and you say it the way it's spelt. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah. And then you
Lacey,
just ask, like, I'm
welcome.
trying, but
I'm
thanks
so
for having me
excited.
back.
Oh, I'm so excited to speak with you. I want to be you. I look at your CV, and just before we started recording, we were chatting about the ketamine and Sandtray therapy. Do we want to start there? Where do you
Yeah,
want to
let's
start?
do that. Let's do that. I know one thing you were
Yeah.
asking is that how getting involved with that and how it is here in the States. It is legal. It's okay, so we have the FDA approval, and ketamine itself in most forms is approved. It's used off label for depression, anxiety, PTSD. There is a nasal spray version of ketamine, a derivative that is FDA approved and can be covered by insurances here. But when you're using the forms like injections, it's used off label. But there are ketamine clinics all around the states. I'm here in Austin. There's a lot of them here, and I work closely with the clinic that they did a very intensive training to where we learned all about what ketamine's used for, how it works, and we did an experiential component with it as well. And I wanted to do that before I started referring my clients to it because I wanted to know what the experience was. And I did have a client who was an adult male and was working through some sexual abuse that he remembered from his childhood that had never, like, he had blocked away for years. And we did a lot of Sandtray work, a lot of IFS work, and he said that he wanted to try ketamine and he wanted to Uber to get a ride share as soon as he was done with his infusion to come over to do therapy. And we did Sandtray with that. And that really, again, for one, I wanted to know what were the mechanisms, how it worked. So then I signed up for the training, because I wanted to be sure I wasn't doing anything wrong. If, what kind of state he would be in. And SandTray can get so deep sometimes. And this person did have some suicidal ideation that was coming up. So I just wanted to be sure I was doing everything correctly. So I learned about it. And when I was working with him, that's when I first got this interest of how Sandtray and ketamine would go so great together, because of the properties that Sandtray has and then the properties that ketamine has. Now, not every ketamine experience medicine that you're getting is going to have a psychedelic effect, but when people go for injections, they are more likely to get that psychedelic effect. And that's a lot of integration work that you can mix with therapy and Sandtray to help people make meaning of what they're experiencing in their ketamine, their medicine journeys. And then applying that to help them with the depression, the trauma, the anxiety, things of that. So that's kind of like the nutshell of how I got into it, how I got interested, and why I've kind of created this training soon where I am going to be inviting other therapists to come experience Sandtray and ketamine together at my office so they can see just kind of how powerful the two can be when they're combined.
Wow, you are so far ahead in the US when it comes to this type of psychotherapeutic intervention. Wow. And I also
Mhm.
saw that you had that short course on your website as well with the
Mhm.
ketamine and Sandtray therapy. So
Yes.
we will put links under
Okay.
this
Yeah.
video as well. So
Yeah, it's
anyone
a great little
wants,
intro for it. And then if you can ever make it here when I'm doing one of the experientials, I would love for anyone to come visit for it
love
'cause
to.
I think it'll be really good. And at the times that I've experimented with the ketamine and had access to a sand tray, it really added layers to the sand tray that I was doing, even from some journeys that I had taken like years before were coming up in the tray. So
Oh,
it was kind of amazing what it can do.
Yes, I have tried to link in with the Mind Medicine in Australia, or those others that are doing these types of interventions to try and educate them how Sandtray therapy would be an amazing segue, as you just
Yeah.
explained. So maybe afterwards, if you do have some contacts in Australia, we can chat further, or if anyone's
Mm.
listening to this and they want to do something similar, reach out. If you're in America, Lacey's our lady. What I love about what you're doing as well is here's a good pun, it's all interlaced. It's
Hmm.
interlaced. So Lacey's our lady. It's like it's like you have specialized in the perinatal trauma.
Hmm.
So you've got from well, conception, should we say conception? From
Hmm.
conception to potentially end of life, because I think
Yeah.
that Caroline and Sandtray would be amazing for those who potentially have lived a whole life of trauma, whatever that is, sexual abuse. We've got all the Epstein files coming out now, so there could be something even more sinister and deeper, that story that they've been holding. And how
Hmm.
amazing would that be just before they pass, to be able to rid their grief and shed that story about their lifetime. So really, Sandtray therapy is just this phenomenal. And then, adding that knowledge of perinatal trauma, sexual trauma, just being trauma informed in general. Yeah. How,
Right. How
how did
all of it's
you
so, yes, interconnected, interlaced. Yeah,
interlaced?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. You're like the mycelium, Lacey. You're the
So
mycelium.
I'm not sure what you said or what you mean.
Oh, you know
Sorry.
the mushrooms, the mycelium, and they all,
Oh, okay,
you
gotcha,
know, they're
gotcha.
all
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
connected underground.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Okay.
get the iceberg. We do the
Yeah.
mycelium.
And I love that you're doing that all the time. That's another way I can describe it. All the things and the roots that are connected underneath and how it all ties in. And that I think we know SandTray does that for any type of trauma, any type of abuse, lifespan, just everything in general. And what the ketamine can do for people, the basic mechanism too, is that it creates new pathways in our brain that we can make small pivots and small behavioral changes. Now, the part that people do get some extra benefit out of if they're doing a psychedelic dose is when you're in that journey, what type of experience might come up. You can't predict what's going to come up. Like the psychedelics go where they're going to go, but afterwards you have a therapist with you. And this is the best way for ketamine to be used is to have psychotherapy incorporated with it. So you can try to make meaning, try to understand what came up in that journey. And a lot of times people are describing seeing things that are usually scary or hard for them, but seeing it in a different way or feeling some kind of distance from it. And that is a lot like what Sandtray does, right? It gives us that
The
therapeutic
object
distance.
relations, yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So people often report my anxiety feels like it's kind of going away in some areas. I'm not feeling it in my body as much. Um, Now, sometimes people may see loved ones, they may not. And they may see certain fears or they may see something that just is kind of scary in general, but they are like, I just see it in a different way. And I felt like I could handle it, like I could handle these things. So it really
So
can help on a new perspective in that way.
it sounds a lot like doing shadow work, inner shadow work,
Mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm,
know? And
yes.
when I used to work with children, the parents would say, oh, they're seeing monsters and they're scared of monsters. And I'm like, okay, let's give these monsters a face. Let's give them
Yes.
a name so that the
Yeah.
child can say, hello, monster. And
Yeah.
then we'll start that more, psychoeducation around, oh, this monster's here to protect you
Yeah.
or however. Yeah. But
Yeah.
shadow
Yeah.
work is huge. And I think for those that are into astrology, hopefully every single SandTray therapist, because it's all about symbols, isn't it? It's all symbolic.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
gone from the wood snake, that shedding, to
Mm-hmm.
the fire horse.
Mm-hmm.
If this is not the time, Lacey, to jump on that horse and just, emerge like the phoenix through the flames and become who you're meant to be, who you want to be,
Mm.
then I don't know when is. And the
Yeah.
sort of therapies that you're doing, you're helping to shift the loads, integrate the shadow with the psyche, and just say to that client, you are enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can't,
Yeah.
you can't do any
Yeah.
more than that, right?
No, and the ketamine again, when there's phases to it. There's preparation, getting people understanding like what they might experience, what ketamine is, how it can help, and also setting expectations around, there's no magic pill that takes everything away. So letting people set intentions and goals, but helping them hold on to those loosely and say, things like, help me understand this rather than take away my depression, because that would be very disappointing if someone comes out of the ketamine and you're still feeling depression, right? But what you're looking at is what can the medicine teach you? What can the journey teach you? What is my inner wisdom holding? What do I know? And even people get visions or feeling connected to their ancestors. And what is the ancestral messages that I'm bringing down? That I can apply to my life, or people will feel very connected to the people around them, to the environment and their journeys. Sometimes people do get re-experiencing of being in the womb or rebirth. So it's a lot of incredible things that can happen. And when people come out of the medicine, so the medicine session is kind of the next phase. And then after medicine is integration, taking what was in the journey and applying it, trying to make meaning. Most people, when you come out to, it's kind of hard to make sense of because what you're seeing is very abstract, but in your mind what it is you're experiencing, but communicating it can be tough.
A
And that's where
dream,
I
a
think,
dream.
Yeah, it's kind of very dreamlike, and a lot can be happening at once. A lot of things can happen at once. So I think the sand tray, I'm going to talk about the different phases or how it can help in each of the phases, but in integration, I've had people say, it was kind of so hard to describe what I was experiencing when I was in the medicine, but this miniature here kind of reminds me of it, or it kind of gives me how I can set it up and how I might have felt in that moment, and it's helping me get some new meaning from it. So that is just one thing that can be kind of easy peasy to set up when someone comes to your office, whether it's right immediately after medicine, which some people like to do because your brain is really open, you're really raw at that time. So that's why people will integrate things like IFS and EMDR after ketamine, because people are a little more, like I said, you can kind of look at that scary thing a little bit differently. Same way with the therapy right after. Maybe people have a little more tolerance to go there. But it doesn't have to be done right after, because again, you're coming out of medicine that might make you feel a little nauseous, or like, whew, I want to eat. I haven't eaten in a while. I just kind of want to rest and take this in. So I try to have people come into my office definitely within the week to process it, but 2 or 3 days is kind of standard of the window of neuroplasticity, is
Mm,
the most open and beneficial. So
mm.
there's lots of different ways people can do it, but say they come in and I'm like, yeah, just what do you remember? What's standing out from your journey? All right, let's go look at the miniatures and let's see what stands out to you and just
Well,
see if
such a
anything.
simple directive
Yeah. Yep.
just to re-trigger that memory
Hmm.
of,
Yep. Yep.
wow.
Just let the miniatures talk, pick what makes sense, what's calling to you, and if it changes directions while you're there, let it be, but just go look. So that's, yeah, one of the ways I kind of get people to do that. Or if they're, the example I gave earlier of the male that was coming to see me, he really wanted to focus on the sexual abuse right after the ketamine. So I would say, what is one of the worst memories you're having, one of the hardest times? And he would think about it. We would set up an EMDR protocol. What's the negative cognition? What's the memory? What do you believe about yourself? What are you feeling? Now go build a tray, put in the tray, and then let's process. And so we could combine EMDR with that sand tray.
That's
And I think it
interesting.
took
So
them
you
to
went
some deeper
from
levels.
top down.
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Would you do that
Yeah.
with children? No.
When I worked with children and I did like EMDR that way, I would kind of it was more of just they were in the tray, and I knew that something was going on in their world at the time, and I'm just like, maybe I would talk more about what emotion are you feeling, and then they were playing, and kids, they know where they need to go, so they were building a tray out of that, and then I might implement, rather than a standard protocol, just maybe putting little buzzers like in their shoes. So they were getting bilateral stimulation while they were, in the sand building. Because, kids sometimes go to the miniatures, put them in the sand, they play, they talk, and then shake it off. I've got to regulate myself. Let me run back and go play with another toy, or let me grab another miniature. Now I'm back at the tray. I'm processing more. So I kind of let it flow a little more, just on their terms, which I still do with the adults as well. But it was less like standard protocol, and then, just adding the bilateral for them,
Mm.
you know.
So coming back to your adult
Mhm.
male, how's he doing?
He's great. I use this as an example, and when I'm talking about sexual abuse across the lifespan and how SandTray is so great for that, he's one of my examples of, he came to me, we were doing a lot of EMDR, IFS, SandTray, and he was getting there. Then when he incorporated the ketamine, I feel like that was kind of just a final push. Because soon after that, he stopped. He was like, I'm feeling really well. He called me back years later and said, Lacey, things from the sexual trauma aren't really coming up again, only that my wife and I are thinking about having a baby, and I'm noticing stuff coming up, and I'm worried about my depression getting in the way of being a father, which, in my sexual abuse and perinatal, the intersection between those two, I talk about that it comes up for people when they're thinking about conceiving or when they are pregnant. So I said that is perfectly like common thing that happens. And so he knew that that was some of the work that I did. So he came back and we talked through that. And the last I talked to him, he was getting ready to start a new job and move to a different state. So we stopped our work together, but he was like, I'm doing great. During that course of time, his wife and him did get pregnant and they had the baby, and he said he was doing well and he loved having his daughter there with him. So yeah, we did a lot of great work together. But you just see like all
Mm,
those things, like just one person, all of those things came up for him. And
mm.
he did sand tray work through it all.
Wow, amazing, amazing. I find it interesting as well that that's specialization in SandTray and perinatal. Um,
Mhm.
I had two experiences of two males, around about the same age, and I had no idea at the time what it was because I hadn't had any of that training. And neither of them put anything in the tray, but these
Mm.
hands would go in. One of them, the
Yes.
hands went in and
Yeah.
mounding and then driving the hands in and the tears and I would sit there and Lacey, I just thought, well, I don't know what's happening here. It was very
Yeah.
early on in my stage, and I thought I better just do nothing. I just hold the space. But you know
Yep.
what?
Yeah.
My womb area, I would feel, I'm rubbing my stomach now. I would feel
Yeah.
it in my womb. And it was at that point that I kind of realized that it was nonverbal. So it
Hmm.
must have been
Hmm.
in utero. And yeah, he did that for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And
Hmm.
one day he said, thanks, Fiona, I feel great. I don't need you
Yeah.
anymore.
Yep. Yep. It's amazing what it'll do, and people how they process it differently. And I think about that too. And again, when I was talking about sexual abuse over the lifespan and how Sandtray can look for different ages, a lot of the kids that I worked with, a lot of burying, a lot of digging, and having the therapist uncover what's there. Or did you find it? Do you know where it is?
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
a
that's
lot of
attachment, isn't it?
burying.
That's mending
Uh-huh.
attachment wounds. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
We
Yes.
work hard as Sandtray therapists.
Yes,
We
we
make it
do.
look easy, don't we?
We do.
But we
And still
work
so many
hard.
people who don't use it are like, what? The playing and what is that actually doing? I'm like, it's hard to describe, but it's doing so much for
Mm,
people of all ages, not just kids and not just women. I use this with grown men
mm,
and they get some really great experiences from it, some new meaning.
mm.
And I don't have to preach to you about it. I wish other people could really embrace it more and understand it more, because it's so helpful to add
On
in
that,
these extra pieces.
yeah, and on that note, how well is it embraced in America?
As a whole, I don't think as much. There are little pockets of areas, like in Texas, we have a big group, but even I would say, like in Austin, there's still a very small group of us. I know them, but there's not as many as you would think of how many therapists are out here. So I think all over is still a very small percentage.
Mm, mm,
But we are creating some more, SandTray associations, having more meetups so we can meet the other people, and share ideas and trainings around the different ways we use SandTray. And hopefully that will get a
fantastic.
little more mainstream.
Yeah, yeah, because you started up the Austin SandTray
Yeah, it was part of
Association.
Austin SandTray, and
Yeah.
then we turned into Texas SandTray and co-created that. And yeah, no, there's a lot of different certifications people can get, and then the World Association of Sand Therapy Professionals was created, and I decided to go that route for my credentialing, because they embrace a lot of different ideas of where sand play, sand tray, sand therapy can come from. And
Mm,
that's how I kind of am too. I'm directive at times and I'm non-directive at times. I have
mm,
different foundational, I think, beliefs on and how sand can be used. And so I tended to go that route with it. So I'm a
mm.
consultant trainer.
Mm,
through them.
mm, mm. Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic,
Are
fantastic.
credentialed through them, and hopefully going
Yeah,
to be doing a training soon with them on a topic. So,
yeah,
but I've enjoyed
beautiful.
that. They have a yearly conference that they do as well.
Yeah, I did speak to them about that, and because we do tend to miss out in Australia,
Mm,
we're so far
yeah,
away.
yeah,
And potentially there'll be space for that to happen in different
yeah.
countries or mini conferences. So I'm putting my
Yes,
hand up for Australia. Please come out
yes.
here. That would be great. That would be fantastic. I
Yeah.
want to segue back
Hmm.
because you were speaking about the ketamine culture, intergenerational beliefs, traumas. And
Hmm.
at that point, I don't know if I'm stepping over the line. At that point, I saw you as this shaman. Like
Oh,
I just saw this energy in you. You're so amazing. It's like this was what you were always meant to do. So I just wanted to, I was like,
oh, thank
oh,
you. Yes, I've really enjoyed the aspect of because part of the training that you do with the ketamine experientials, getting it yourself, but practicing sitting, being a guide for the person who's under medicine. And really it's just about that therapeutic safety and creating that I'm here with you while, because it's an anesthetic. So people use in surgery, right? So they may be sedated and feel like they're on another planet but part of the prep work that we do is, what to expect. And here's how I'm with you. If you start to panic, let's think of a mantra. Let's think of something that helps ground you. And then if you need me, because there's a separate informed consent that I use as well that talks about therapeutic or consensual therapeutic non-sexual touch. And if someone requests, like, if I put up my hand, will you just kind of place your hand on it to let me know that you're here and that I'm still in the room? And I've done
mhm,
that as well. I'm like, if I put up a finger, that means I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. I just need a gentle reminder. I try to stay away from me speaking first, not to kind of pull out of what they're experiencing, but the touch can just be enough. But if they need me to repeat their mantra, then I certainly will. And that's another way we can use SandTray to incorporate it. In preparation, I can say, what are your fears about ketamine? What are your fears about your journey? Or what are your intentions? What are your goals? Now, what would that look like in the sand tray? Let's process it. And then in the training that I have, you'll see there's a demo where she and we create the tray for preparation, and I have her pick one of the miniatures that helped her feel empowered and ready for this journey. So I had her hold it, she talked to it, they spoke to each other, and if they happen to be around you again, you can go grab that miniature and say, remember, do you want to use this as like a grounding tool? Or if they're going to a clinic, trying to help them identify a miniature that maybe it depends on you if you want to let them borrow it so they can take it with them and it can be something they hold while they're under medicine.
wow.
So those are the ways that I incorporate Sandtray in preparation during the medicine and in integration.
So I see that as symbol work, and symbol work
Mm.
is, it's so vast.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
just expressed a few areas where you can use the symbols. So self-regulation, right?
Yes.
Storytelling, that felt
Yeah.
sense, I'm safe. Because when
Yes.
you give your client a symbol to lend it, you're lending a part of your own nervous system to them through that symbol. So
Mhm.
you're with them. Beautiful.
Absolutely. And that's what
Wow.
goes back to what is the foundation of our work? It's our relationship with them, the
Mm,
safety,
mm,
that we're creating. And yes, I love everything just about this storytelling. And I say, one of your mantras can be, or one of your goals is just, again, medicine, ketamine, what do you have to show me? Show me my inner wisdom, but what is it that you need me to know? Because we do have that inside of us. We do have it passed down for generations. And the storytelling piece about it, and maybe ketamine does have a story for you that it needs
mm,
you to see.
mm,
And, with Sandtray, what we're doing is we're creating that space for our clients to share their story and we get to witness it. It's like, what I call the sacred storytelling of
mm,
Sandtray.
mm.
Um, And so when you combine those things, like it deepens the layers. I think of like getting more into the unconscious, what's there. Um, so
Yeah.
and it
All
pairs
those
well.
complexes just start to become released
Yeah,
and
because that's
you feel
kind of
lighter.
essentially, yeah, what the medicine is doing. It's hitting on the default mode network, which is kind of where our ego lives or our inner critic kind of talks. The ketamine has a way of making that voice. So then more unconscious material can come in.
Yeah, it's an interesting area. I did a rapid review and delved a little bit into the default mode network, and it's so relevant. It's so
Mhm.
relevant.
Mhm.
Yeah. Can we talk about, because I know you're in your group space, can we
Yeah.
talk about how you would use a group SandTray
Yeah.
therapy?
Yeah. So, and then we can talk about how to incorporate that with ketamine as well. Because I mean, you can implement anything, but I don't know if y'all will be able to see
You can
much
just
here,
keep
but
on
like,
talking. I'm loving this. Just tell us
but this
everything.
is this is my group room. I have like on that shelf, there's smaller trays too. So if I do a training here, I do a group with other therapists. So they come in once a month to just build and create. And what I'm planning on doing, like I said, for this ketamine experiential, we're all going to be in my group room and SandTray is going to be available. I never push it on anyone. They don't have to. In most ketamine settings, you're just going to have stuff that's available, like journaling, art, but no one has to. I even, incorporate tarot in SandTray and using oracle cards and a tarot card before someone goes into medicine as
Mm.
like, kind of taking that with you
Yeah,
on
it's all
your
symbols.
journey.
It's all
Mhm.
symbols, isn't
Yes,
it? Yeah.
yes, yeah. And so the plan is, this is a way you could do that is have people meet all together that are going to be doing the medicine together so they get to know each other. They talk about, you'll do your goal setting, you'll do your prep sessions to get them going, like, what to expect. Some people may have done ketamine before, some may never have. So there are going to be a lot of fears of what is this going to be like? So I, will have everyone come in and just gonna build like one tray at first. What are our expectations or fears or whatever that are coming up? And they put that together and they'll talk about it. And then after medicine, they'll be able to create separate sand trays on their journey. And then before the day ends, we'll go back to the group one and add more of like what the experience was. Because even doing ketamine in a group setting, even though you're having separate journeys than the person next to you, you're still connected in a way. I remember coming out of one of
Mycelium,
my groups.
mycelium.
Yeah, coming out and feeling like I don't know what you just experienced, but I was holding you with me. Like I didn't see you, but you were with me because I knew, you know, you were experiencing the same thing I am as a mom and these fears that come up. So I felt like I was with you. I felt like you were with me the whole time. So there's a good way of like connecting through that. And then when I'm doing sand tray with my other people, um, we come in, we have a brief. How are you? How's everyone been? And then I'll ask them, do you feel like you need a prompt today or do you just want to build? And so they'll let me know if they want a prompt or not. And once they build, we take turns going. Who wants to go first? And I will ask them, are you open to questions or curiosities from your group mates? And usually they're like, yes. So then the other people say, I'm curious about this piece over here. Or when you said this, I noticed you did this, or you seem to cry, or I just want you to know that I see that you're struggling, but I look at that miniature and I see her up like this. And I see the protection that you have around. So then the next person goes until everyone shares, and then I'm kind of there just linking. Um, the commonalities. And then what was it like to receive that from your group mates, to see them holding you, to hear them say that they see you, even though you feel really lonely and isolated. So that's it, it's just another way when I do this
It's
training in a couple of
empowering.
weeks, yes, to just deepen the connection
Mm.
of the people that are in the group together.
Mm.
I think in ways that I've been in group therapy before and there's a lot of great stuff and I feel connected, but I think the sand just does that in such like a rapid pace. that it's been really helpful for the people that are a part of the group.
Mm. And one of the reasons why is you're not clutching at straws. You're just seeing what's presented there, and
Yeah,
you're talking to that, and
yeah.
you go in to find the hope, right?
Hmm. And the
So
fun thing that I can do was say someone is coming up on something over the next month. They're like, I'm really nervous about this family reunion. And I will say, you know what? I want each of your group mates to go pick out 1 to 2 miniatures right now that will serve as a reminder of how they're with you this weekend or reminding you of your strength. Then everyone goes and picks something and they go and they place it. And if the person gives permission to place it in that tray, to
mm,
say, here's what I chose for you. I chose
mm,
this
mm,
peacock because I see your strength or whatnot. So that's one way that I can, bring their trays like actually physically together. When a member is exiting the group, I will have each person go and pick 1 or 2 miniatures that represent, just how that person is perceived or, a parting message. And then I'll get a separate tray and everyone will put it in just for that one person.
mm.
And then that person gets to hear why the people chose what they did and take a picture of it. I let my therapist take pictures of their trays
Mm,
each time they come
mm,
in so they can
mm,
journal.
mm. Yeah,
And
absolutely. It's very
yeah,
honoring what you're talking about now. Very honoring.
yes. So lots of ways that, even if people have individual trays to pull them together, if you don't have like a big group sand tray or something. But
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I
You're
love,
jealous, aren't you, of my group SandTray?
yes, I love the big long ones. And I need a big round one. Those things are so expensive. I found like a little shallow thing that I can do at like one of the craft stores. But yeah, I want one of the big ones that can kind of spin around one
Do you
day.
have we've got in Australia, it's called the men's shed. And it's this wonderful concept of it's usually men who have retired and
Mm,
they join the men's shed. So they basically go, you know what a shed is, don't you?
yeah, yeah.
They go to the
And
big
they just built.
shed and learn, some of them were carpenters or mechanics or whatever, and you can go there. And a colleague of mine went there recently and she said to them, I want a round sand tray. And they made it for her. So the
Perfect.
carpenters and the handymen, they built her a tray. So I don't know if there's something
That's
similar
awesome.
in America.
I'm sure, yeah, a lot of people just doing stuff that would be great.
Mm.
I would find something like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, because they do
it,
it for free. I mean, you'll give some money
that's
for the material. I know.
right,
These are men
right.
that just want to give back. It's a
And they
beautiful concept.
and it's good, for them, anyone being able to build something, create, that is all so good for all of our mental health, so
Mm.
therapeutic.
Oh,
So
for sure. Yeah, it does. It ticks all those mental health boxes for sure.
mhm.
Men looking after men because they speak a different language,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. And it's needed. It is so needed too, because I know, yes, there's a lot of populations that are overlooked and misunderstood. And I do think men's mental health is one of those that's been pushed to the side and not
Mm,
looked at. So creating a different type of space for them
mm,
is
mm,
very helpful. So groups like
mm,
that, I almost could see like creating a group or retreat where the men come and they build a tray. They build the tray that they're going to use. That would just be really
and
cool.
just leave a little round one behind for you.
Yes, yes. Let's make two. Yeah. But all such wonderful, wonderful things.
Mm. And as you were speaking just then, I was just thinking that one of the things about the Sandtray therapy that I love as well is don't bring your diagnoses in with you. Just
Mhm.
present yourself for who you are
Yeah.
because the Sandtray doesn't care what language you speak, what you look like. It doesn't
Mhm.
care. Just
No, it
you.
it just wants to be the place I think that it's there for you to share your story.
Mm,
Everyone has a story. It's like just tell me the story. And the sand tray holds that. It gives them the means, the medium to do that.
mm,
Um,
mm.
so When I think about uh, when I do trainings, I really do, if I'm doing ones that are kind of foundational, I know we talk about kind of the origins of SandTray as we know it, but I even want to go further back and honor, different indigenous communities that have been using like storytelling and symbols all along. And part of I recently did a Chicana affirmative, Latina Latinx affirmative psychotherapy group. And I was asking them about, because SandTray is such a big part of what I do and how that might be tied into to my roots. And, they were saying, well, that our people for so long, been using storytelling and symbols, and they would even go and like kind of draw things in the dirt or the sand to kind of tell that story. So I think about, how it's kind of been there long before we started using
In
it in
your
the therapy
DNA,
community.
Lacey.
Yeah. Yeah. So and that's if anyone asks like what's the basis of what I love about it, again, I'm gonna say this, the sacred storytelling.
Mm, mm. And as humans, we tell story. That's how we have always communicated.
Yep. Yep.
Sometimes through, well, the first language is symbolic, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes, if we segue back to the um, perinatal trauma, sometimes, just sometimes, there are no words. There are
Yeah.
no words because it was pre-verbal. And so
Yeah.
that symbolic representation of what I experienced with my guys and what you've experienced in bucket loads, I'm sure, of,
Mm.
well, how do I figure out there's no trauma narrative. It's symbolic. There's a nothingness in the tray. How do I do
Yeah.
that? How do I work with that? And I think that's the crux of, if I put my trainer's hat on and talk to from one trainer to the next, that's the importance of knowing what you're doing, having that
Mm.
really good training behind you,
Mhm.
because somebody inevitably will walk into that room with that type of, really deep trauma. And
Yeah.
then on top of that, it could be intergenerational. So you
Mhm.
need to know what you're not seeing in the tray.
Mhm.
So I wonder if you could talk to that, Lacey.
Yes, absolutely. I tell people before doing SandTray, if they come to workshops, really you should experience what it's like to build your own before you do it with clients.
Mm.
Because what people are always shocked about is, oh my gosh, I didn't expect all that to come up. I thought I was just picking these little things to represent. So I do a multicultural supervision sand tray kind of cross training where people come in and I have them build. I've like talk about your intersectionality. What are your identities? Now pick out miniatures that represent that and let's put them in the tray. And a person who had never done sand tray before, she was kind of still at a associate level, so not fully licensed, but on her way. And she was like, I just want to know about SandTray. And I didn't give the disclaimer this time. And now it reminds me that I need to, of how deep it can get, because she said, I thought I was just picking out the things that, represent my cultural background. And then as I'm seeing them in the tray, as I was picking them up and touching them, it started touching in on all of my birth trauma, all of my, kind of like inner child wounds. And she pulled me aside. She's like, Lacey, I'm really sorry, but I'm postpartum right now, and this just really is a lot. I don't think I can continue with the workshop because of how intense it got for her. So it's that good reminder that knowing what it can do to someone and how we're there to be prepared to hold that space when they're like, and I'm just building a tray, I'm just playing, and then, oh
Mm.
wow, now I'm in the
But
middle
what
of,
a, what a remarkable young woman who
hmm
understood that it was hers, and she didn't project onto you as the therapist and go, oh, this is ridiculous. This is silly. She's really, wow. She has the
yeah,
makings of a really, really, really professional Sandtray therapist.
hmm
Firstly, she had that experience, but secondly, she took that on as her own,
yeah,
because that's
yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
no, that's big. That's really that awareness. That's
Hmm.
huge. Look at loads of awareness.
Yes. And so that is, my first thing to everyone experience it if you can. And just knowing like, yeah, we're not going to interpret the tray and put meaning, right? But sometimes clients are going to, hint at something and like, oh, they're on the cusp of it. And we kind of give like a little gentle, a
Mm,
slight interpretation to see if they bite onto it or not. And sometimes it could
mm,
be the thing that really sends them in, to a
mm,
direction. So gauging when you think someone is ready
mm,
to hear an insight that you have, creating trays at first that do feel a little bit safer and maybe more contained so
mm.
they have experience of what it's like first before they, like not on a first time you meet someone in a first tray saying, tell me about the worst trauma of your life and put it in the tray.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that
yeah,
would be
yeah,
really, really too much.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah,
mhm,
yeah. So self trays are they're fascinating, especially self trays in a group
mhm,
scenario where the group, as you've already spoken about, can come in and see what they can see. And sometimes it's a little bit more than a gentle nudge when the person sitting there is not seeing anything and the group's
mhm.
coming in. Yeah, but look at this,
Yeah.
look at the egg. Look at the
Yeah.
egg.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
yeah,
and
it can
just
be.
also like what to do when you have someone who I've had someone with severe, birth trauma loss and only put two items in the tray. And that was all their capacity could do, but there was still so much work that came up out of that. Just
Mm,
noticing what it looked like with just those two things. And
mm,
even the client was like, this, wow, it got so deep. And I'm in a really like heavy spot right now, to where she was like, I don't know if I want to come do this again. And I'm like, that's okay. We can step back from it. She's like, no, I think I need to do the sand tray again
mm,
and doing it. And she had like three trays in a row where she just only picked out two items each time,
mm.
but she
But
spent
you
the
and
whole
you and I
session processing.
understand that it's the relational functioning of those two items, right? It's
Mhm.
where it's
Mhm.
placed.
Yeah.
It's is one buried, is one the two symbols for a professional or a master SandTray therapist is enough. One is enough,
Mhm. Mhm.
to support that client to go deeper and deeper and deeper
Yeah.
until, as you said, they say that's enough, you know.
Yeah.
But they've held that trauma for so long, so we
Yeah.
kind of are like, gunning for our clients. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. It's
Hmm.
such an interesting um, profession. It's an honoring profession,
Yes.
actually.
Yes.
Mm.
I love
Mm.
it. And I love our community of it. And being at workshops, whether I'm giving them or attending them, they're my favorite because you get that piece of building your own and just being in a community with other people who get it like that. And
Mm.
it's so powerful. They're always
Mm.
they're always just my favorite and I get a lot out of them. So
I think we need to make a pact that us SandTray therapists that are at a certain level, we've got to join together, join forces. Whether we do that through the World Association, it's probably the best pivot point, and just get this out to the public. It's one of the
yeah.
reasons I do these chats about sand, so that people can get a real deep dive into the therapist or the trainer and how they do it and why they do it and who they can work with. Because who
Right.
you work with, that's nearly everybody, every human
Yeah.
that's alive,
Yeah.
really, isn't it? Every
Hmm.
mom, every dad,
Yeah.
sister, cousin,
Yeah.
anyone that's been in a family. So, which is
Right.
everyone, absolutely everyone. Wow. Lacey, is there anything I could talk to you for hours, by the way?
Yeah. I was going to ask if you had any more questions about, the group or about ketamine and integrating the two. Any more questions?
Well, you're the expert, so I just want to come over and do it with you. I
Yeah.
just do it. Like I've always thought, and I think I was saying before we hit record that I had reached out to some various peoples in Australia to try and get them to understand, not to understand, that sounds derogative, but to say to them, wow, we can't do that in Australia yet, but with the training, when it does happen, um, you don't have to be a fully qualified SandTray therapist, but I can really get you understanding the symbols and all that sort of thing. And I guess going back to the work that you do, that's hugely important because with symbol work and dream work, there is the personal meaning, right? And then there's a collective meaning. Does that
Yes.
apply with the ketamine Sandtray psychotherapy as well?
Yes, because I think mainly in the ketamine journeys, the different types of non-ordinary ego states that people can be in, a lot of that people do feel the collective, like I'm connected to everything and I'm not alone, to there being a complete ego breakdown, a complete ego dissolution that is like, I am not one thing, I'm not a separate thing, I am everything. And everything is me, just it can be a mystical experience. It can be a very like I said, that whether it's the ancestry coming through or just I know that I'm connected to everyone in some way. That we're all, yeah, and part of this together. We're all experiencing something. And I think it can help reduce, at least for little moments, reduce some feelings of isolation. Um,
Mhm.
that and it's just what
Which
people
can,
can get out of it.
yeah, which can be a psychosocial stage of older generations, right? That sense of
Mhm.
isolation. I mean, it can be for anyone, but
Yeah.
if you don't heal that wound, um, then yeah, and that's interesting because I talked about using this with the older generations going into old people's homes. How many of them are sitting in isolation?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's sad, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
just sad. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lacey,
Mhm.
you're amazing.
Oh, thank
Absolutely.
you.
I think Austin, Texas is I know there's a couple of good therapists there in Austin.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. We do have a lot. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and you've got some leaders there too, which is great. Um,
Mhm.
so we might have to talk about next year about you all coming out to Australia. I
Oh,
know.
plenty of us would love it.
Oh, look, I wanted to set something up years ago, and then the COVIDian era and the lockdowns,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Just
it's
everything.
just
I know.
everything, everything. So that's a point for another discussion.
Yeah.
So
But I
I'm
would love to set it up and we could definitely, get connected with all those people here that would be like, I would love to present on this and I could present on this. And yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Julia's busy setting up the conference as we speak, right?
Mhm.
The
Maybe
American
so.
conference.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
coming up. 'Cause I think they're doing like in several locations. I feel like what they're trying to do in the States and then making it virtual access as well. So there's a lot going on there. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I can imagine. I can imagine. Yeah, it's a big one. It's a really big one. I spoke to Julia last week and 2 weeks ago, and we did a chat about sand. So that was
Awesome.
lovely. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, she's
I love
a
talking
she's
about
a
it
real
in, yeah,
sweetie.
all forms. And
Yeah.
it's a small Facebook group that I created and I'm trying to think of what it's called, like SandTray. Oh, let me look it up real quick. SandTray therapy. SandTray trainings and networking. Is there's a few of us on there, but I just kind of created that for anyone who wants to share any resources or their trainings. They can post about a training they have in Sandtray anytime. To
Mhm.
put it in there because I want people to know what's out there and be able to have access to, someone over there is talking about this very specific area that I want to know about. So let me sign
Mm,
up. So if anyone
mm,
wants to join just to look at the trainings or post their own, you can do that.
And we might put your link on the SandTray Therapy Association of Australia. for your
Okay.
trainings as well, because they'd be
Yes.
great PDs.
Oh, I know
Um,
for, yeah, y'all, especially because you can't make mine live, but
I
on demand is better
know, I
with our time
know.
difference.
My symbol, I want to magic wand and just bring everyone in the room
Yes,
together. Mm.
that would be great.
Now I'm
But
going
yeah,
to ask
we'll do
something,
that.
and you don't have to agree, but um, do you have a favorite symbol that you would like to show us in your group room?
Oh gosh. Oh my, yeah. So, oh yeah, I'm gonna just bring this one. It's one of my faves. And I use it. Wait, where is she? Well, I will say I'll bring these. My favorite that shows up in all of my trays. She's in my individual room, but it's something close to this. Because it just represents I mean so many things, a bit of my roots, my culture, pieces of me that I wasn't really allowed to know about growing up. So it's kind of a reclaiming, and I feel like she is just she's like just the holder of a lot of things. She's there around, whether that's physically or spiritually. And she just looks very strong to me. And then this is one of my favorite fierce ones, just this goddess of just, I know, badass. It isn't really all I can describe with it. But she's so
I
fierce
love
and
how your
confident.
fingernail color matches her
Yeah, today. Yes.
and the black
Yes.
hair.
So yes. So those would be it. Those show up in a lot of my personal trays.
Fantastic, beautiful. Well, I do
Yeah.
recognize the Mexican. It's very honoring the dead, isn't
Mm.
it? Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
I was gifted some symbols by a sandplay therapist whose wife called me and basically said, "Do you want all this stuff?" Said,
Yeah.
"Yes, please." So I took the
Yes.
shelves, I took everything, and he was
Yes.
an older sandplay therapist, so he traveled all around the
Yeah.
world. He's got all this beautiful Mexican um, symbols, and one of them is something. I have something very similar to what
Mhm.
you just held up, and so
Yeah.
now her name will be Lacey whenever I
Oh,
see her.
awesome. Yeah. And if we ever want to talk about just, I mean, how SandTray is so great for your own, just talking again, your intersectionality, all of your identities. It's one of my favorite workshops to do because it's like people are there to learn how to help their associates in supervision, but it really is rooted in them exploring themselves and their
Absolutely.
identities and how that comes into our work with our clients. So that's why you have to have so many miniatures because you need something
Mm,
that represents so many different identities.
mm,
And how
mm.
special it feels when someone is looking at a tray and they're like, oh my gosh, that's me. And this reminds me so much of me or my childhood or you know, my grandma or the games we used to play. It's just,
Absolutely. And I'm just thinking of dissociation now, and it's such a great way to bring that split to
mhm,
together into the
mhm.
whole, because in that intersectionality, you understand that in between this and this are so many other
Yes.
you, and you
Hmm.
look at yourself as so many things. I
Yeah.
mean, when people are asked, tell me about you, what do people say?
Right.
Uh, um,
Uh-huh.
um, nobody knows themselves
Yeah. Yeah.
or don't want to see themselves. I know there's parts of me that
Right.
I'm like, nah.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm coming up shy. I'm going blank right now. I don't know what to say. But yeah, the symbols, uh, they're wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, they are wonderful. And so are you. What an amazing note to end on.
Oh,
And
thank you so much.
no, thank you. You're amazing. And yeah, I've been so looking forward to chatting with you.
Yeah,
And
I'm glad we
and
got to connect again. And anytime in the future,
no,
I'm up for it.
I yeah, well, let's do it again, and maybe we
Yeah.
can do a topic, or maybe we can do our own mini conference or something
Yes,
online.
absolutely. Yeah, at
Yeah,
Summit.
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah, but just for sandtray therapists, so they've got their sandtrays there and they're already trained, so that we
Yes.
don't have to
Yeah. They have their
worry about
setup and we can just direct them, guide them on what to do, and everyone gets, that piece of the professional part and your own personal.
It
Your own
sounds
personal
good. All
word.
right. Well, thank you
Awesome.
very, very
Yes.
much. And
You
well, I'll see you on the other side.
sounds great. Bye.
Thanks, Lacey.